Hey there, Carrington.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Dinosaur Neil?
I'm terrific. Are you all ready to host with your most?
And I see Paul
Me?
jumping in.
There's Paul.
There he
Right.
is.
Pointing at him. Right there. You
He's right below me. Below and
down
to the
with Paul.
right.
Paul must go.
Right.
How's it going?
See, Epson.
Have you met Paul?
Let's see. All right. So who is going? Let's see. Actually, I'm nowhere near my microphone now that I think about it. Am I audible?
This is Audible. I have a theory that when you download audiobooks from Audible, first it says this is not Audible, but really so low you can't hear it because they have a sense of humor, and then it says this is Audible.
Yeah.
I really hope that that's true.
Yeah. All right.
And hey, Paul, just an FYI, we are live.
Hello,
Right
live.
now.
So the stream of obscenities should be.
It
Should
tell-
begin
Yeah.
any second now.
Carrington could, maybe go easy on the belching.
Not gonna happen.
All right.
Not gonna happen.
So who's hosting this bad boy? Is that you, Paul?
It might be me. I'm trying to figure out if this is bouncing to.
Below and to the right. Wait, there we go.
Do I sound super loud?
No?
Nope.
Okay.
I have to reach up under my microphone. Hit buttons.
Okay. Let's see.
So with these new recordings, we simply just go live immediately.
No, I just made it go
resist.
live so that we could show a little test pattern and get
It
the
says
link
that
out
we've been
there
live for
people.
21 minutes and 48 seconds.
We have been.
Yeah.
Has it
some of
been
that was
just
the
you?
Test pattern, then.
Okay.
No, it was a test pattern that I put on.
That's why everybody's tuning out now.
All right. Let's see.
I'm sitting in the most uncomfortable chair.
I hope.
I shall be squirming through this whole episode
Is that just to keep you on your toes?
just because I'm guilty. I got the squirms.
All right. Let's see. How can I? I want to add.
Do not disturb.
Ooh, nice.
I mean, being all pro.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to meters. I want to see meters. Show me meters.
Don't need no stinking meters.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. That's not bad. In answer to your question, I have no idea who's hosting, but it always ends up being me.
I can say I have an
Okay.
idea who's hosting. Oh, who's not recording? This guy. Who's now recording? This guy.
Yeah, everybody recording? And hello to our viewing audience.
I am recording. That's good. And hello, also yes. We have no commercial, but though the Space Invaders thing is now viable. So I put that in
Oh,
as
is
the
it?
default.
Cool.
Oh, that board game?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, very good.
Should get that for a Kansas Fest.
We should. All right. Are we ready? I think we're ready.
Sure.
I think we are.
Is it just the three of us?
It
Oh, that's
is.
a good question.
I thought.
Michael can't make it in,
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought Michael was coming.
so I guess
I knew. Nobody from Sweden is allowed.
that's
But
right.
hear that, Jack?
We've had
nobody.
We've had enough.
Enough of the Swedes and their IKEA.
Kicked out by DRM.
I'm one to talk, of course, but all right.
I think every episode you should reach behind you and pull something random from the pile, Paul,
Right.
and then tell us
I'm
what it
scared
is.
that pile is going to fall on you while we're recording.
Yeah,
I'm scared it's going to fall in when we're not recording, and we're going to miss out on all those sweet, sweet clicks.
That's right. Oh, my pop filter's hiding some.
You put it right in front of your face.
things. There we go. Okay.
Pop filter, please. I obviously don't use one. Listen to the audio.
Yeah.
You used to have the whole deluxe thing, Carrington, with the spring loaded.
I've
and-
still got like a whole big old fancy recording thing, but it takes plugs and it's a pain. And the Yeti is so nice. I plug it, it's one cable and done. It just I just love a one cable solution. So
Well,
I
it
do
does
not use
sound
my
really
fancy
good.
Shure thing. So The room is so echoey. I should be using a better microphone because I actually have pillows. I went to my bed and took my pillows and put them on the desk behind me to get rid of a little bit of the bounce because it's.
wow.
I mean,
How
I live in
baffling.
dude, dude.
Sorry.
Okay. We can start, and I'll edit together something that seems like a podcast.
That's pretty much on brand.
There was so much. That was a lot of editing.
Really?
but to get the last 2 episodes out.
But you got him out so quickly. I was
They were
very
very
surprised. It came as like a 1-2 punch.
Yep. So now there are no pending ones.
Is it more editing now that we've switched to this this video shenanigans?
It's the same.
Okay,
I
good.
think. I mean,
I don't want to burn you out, man.
yeah. I don't think it makes any difference. The YouTube audio is basically going to count as the overall call recorder audio. But
Yeah, because I don't have call recorder going now. I guess none of us do anymore. I just have but I got 2 local sources. So
That's cool. I'm in a shadow, but this big Apple box behind me is very, very.
that's
well
better. That's more important. We'd rather look at that. Mic up your boxes.
Right. It's November 17th, 2019, and welcome to episode 203 of the Retro Computing Roundtable. The RCR is a podcast about retro computer news, nostalgia, collecting, and wimpy time travel genies. So, I am Paul Hagstrom in Boston. I am joined today on YouTube, if you are watching. Actually, even if you're not watching, by Earl Evans in Portland. How are you?
I'm doing well, Paul. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. It's snowing here now. Winter has arrived.
Yes.
Oh well.
Usually happens this time of year.
And speaking of snowing and winter having arrived, we have Carrington Vanston in Toronto. How are you?
Are you buried yet?
Yeah, we've had snow for a few weeks now. That is not going away. Normally, we don't have this much snow on the ground this early. It's a toss-up whether we have a white Christmas. He said, making bunnies. We'll normally get a bit of snow, like a dusting, a squall, or whatever the word is, before the end of the year, but usually not a ton. But a couple of weeks ago, we got a bunch of snow, and it's been below freezing ever since then, and we got a little bit more snow, and it's just staying. It's like, now it's winter. Take the winter. I don't want the winter. I want to move to Costa Rica. It's awful. I hate it.
All right.
Boo. Boo to the cold.
All right, but so today we have a sort of interesting and creative time travel based topic. Time travel topic.
Doctor Who.
It is the Wimpy time travel genie, and the premise here, I believe this is Carrington's idea.
I like how it's a wimpy genie.
Yeah, it has powers, but they're limited. So you only get to go back in time once, and you can buy something or not buy something. Actually, what you're doing is advising yourself to buy something or not buy something. Ideally, retro computing related.
Ideally.
But so, Carrington, given that you had the idea, have you thought about this at all?
I have a little bit, and oddly, like the first thoughts obviously are you go back in time and tell yourself to buy Bitcoin at $1, or like don't ever buy a computer. Just every time you want to buy a computer, put that same money into stock. Buy Apple or IBM or well, maybe not IBM, but Microsoft, Google, whatever. Just don't use a computer, just buy stuff. But that's no fun. Like the idea is to buy a thing, I think, or to advise myself and not buy a thing. I couldn't think of anything that I would go back in time and tell myself to buy, like at the time, like a thing that I didn't buy that I missed out on. Maybe that's because now we live in this golden age where I can go on eBay, and just buy anything I didn't get at the time. So I don't feel like I'm missing out. Maybe I missed out then, but not a big deal now. So there's lots of things at the time I either couldn't afford or couldn't find or whatever, but I don't really feel like I used my Genie for that. I think I would use my Wimpy Genie to go back and correct a mistake. And I've made so many of those. I've got a surfeit of choice. So 2 jumped out at me. One, I think I've mentioned before. My family used to own a business that did printing. It was a coupon business, and it was very large, had locations all across the country, and did like literally, I think a couple 100 million coupons a year. I apologize, Earth. We use soy-based inks. I don't know what to tell you. It was an early time. We hated the planet, whatever. But I was responsible for our move from going to like from traditional cut and paste up stuff to going over to computer-based things, which we did over a weekend. We shut down on a Friday. Monday, everyone has a computer at the desk. Let's learn it. Let's go. Desktop publishing is the future. Rah, rah, rah. And then we went direct to film and direct to plate and like all these things. But that first big purchase of computers, weirdly, I got to pick because I was the computer guy, even though I was relatively young as a kid. And I'm sure I made tons of mistakes. I probably should have bargained and I didn't. And I bet you I made the year for whatever store, because we didn't go to Apple. I just I think went to a store and said, okay, I need, 65 Apple II CIs. There's this massive collection of computers. And one 2SI. So we had 2 CIs, 2 CXs, which I guess we got because they were a little cheaper. I think we had LCs as well. LC, I don't know, it was the original LC or the 2 or whatever. But there was a 2SI in that mix. And a lady named Karen got it on her desk. And that thing became my biggest tech support nightmare. Partly maybe because of Karen, but partly because what a garbage computer. It was so much worse than everything else we got. It just stood out as a terribly made computer. It had weird gremlins in it. The RAM for the video borrowed from the regular RAM. So depending on how much RAM you're using, you got to have a different sort of display. Like you can't have thousands of colors today because you've got Quark open. Like that kind of, it just the worst thing ever. So I would probably advise myself to not buy that from a professional standpoint. But from a personal standpoint, the only time I've ever really upgraded a computer, like to the point where I do a motherboard swap. Like you have a computer, you go spend a bunch of money and you get a new motherboard from the original computer, was when I took my Apple, it was a Macintosh 840 AV, one of the best computers I've ever owned. I adored it. It's just an amazing computer. And I got all swept up in the PowerPC future and I paid a ton of money to upgrade it to an 8100. So it became a PowerPC. So I took an incredible computer, like the fastest, most cutting edge 68K computer I could have, full 68040, with that whole AV card thing. It was just like an amazing tower of awesomeness. And I turned it into a first generation, crazy, sluggish, barely run anything PowerPC computer. I way too early adopted, and I would, if I could use my Wimpy Genie, I would go back and tell me not to do that. And in fact, probably never get rid of my 840 AV, but just keep it out of the sun so it doesn't do that weird yellow thing. But it's one of the few computers that I had, which I often think about reacquiring because I loved it so much. And I basically gave it a lobotomy and I ruined it, and I spent thousands of dollars to do so, and it was a mistake. So I would use my Wimpy Genie to tell myself to not do that. That said, I rarely take anybody's advice, and the odds of me listening to me, please. So I'm going to have to do this in a sneaky way where I tell myself I should definitely upgrade, and then I'll try to spite myself and not do it. That's probably what I have to do for my own good. But that's what I would pick. I'm using my Wimpy Genie to stop me from going from an 840 AV to an 8100. Excellent.
Very good. Yeah, I'm still pondering this question. I took a Quadra 650. I think what I did was I may have traded in the Quadra 650 for a PowerMac 7180. And I remember all those numbers, and it's ridiculous that there are all those numbers.
Yep.
But it was a 7100. It was 80 megahertz. But and
you think things would be faster, like an 80 megahertz computer. You think when you move up from probably what was like a 30 megahertz computer to an 80, it'd be like, oh, it's so much better. Nope, going to be dog slow.
That's right. Well, yeah, eventually they're going to write all the stuff for native.
Eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
So
there was a long time before that was the case. Those early PowerPCs, man, it was like just pulling teeth to get them to do anything.
Right. Earl, have you thought about what you'd have your Genie tell
Wimpy Genie
yourself to do?
That's right, the Wimpy Genie. Yeah, I have actually. And what I would ask the Wimpy Genie, what is the Wimpy Genie's name, by the way? We don't
Jack. Jack Nutting.
That's what you get for not being on the show, Jack. It depends on how mercenary I want to be about this, because you mentioned that it needs to be retro related somehow. So if I was totally on the mercenary side, like I want to retire now, I would go back and get an Apple One, obviously, and keep it new in box. Never open it up. Yeah, get 2 or 3. Hey, why not? And just hang on
flood
to those
the market
suckers.
And ruin everybody else who had them for investments.
And then right about now be on Easy Street. If I wanted to be somewhere in between mercenary and just collectible, I would probably get a Commodore 65. Wait until Commodore did the liquidation sale, grab up one of the Commodore 65 prototypes, and then just hang on to that. for a while. I wouldn't retire with the money off of that, but it would be a nice chunk of change if I ever wanted to sell. And if I didn't, I could just play around with it because they were kind of fun, depending on how functional the one you got was. I mean, there were different levels of functionality depending on which prototype you managed to snag. But and then if I didn't want to be mercenary at all, it's just something that I wanted from my own nostalgia perspective. I would do actually what Andy said in the chat, which is really interesting. He came up with the same computer that I would have if it was in the just pure nostalgia factor, which is the CompuColor 2. I remember the first time I saw one of the CompuColors, a friend of mine brought it into our high school computer science room, just kind of a show and tell sort of thing. His family worked for IBM and they had lots of computer equipment all the time. So anyway, he brought in a CompuColor 2. I thought it was gorgeous. I thought the color text was great. I thought the keyboard was really nice. I would love to have one now, but they're almost unobtainium. But back, like mid 80s, maybe you could have scored one used for a few bucks. Like Andy said, look for one at a car boot sale. And so it just depends. It depends on how greedy I'm being, Paul.
Yeah, it is. It is relatively easy to think about. Like, all right, well, getting some of the getting a bunch of Lisa ones or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Although the Apple ones are probably easier to store, and neither one would be likely to work. But yeah. I mean, I guess
Wouldn't really matter if the Apple One worked. I mean, if you had one new in box with some sort of guaranteed provenance, then you could then get anything else you wanted.
Yeah, you could go back in time and tell yourself to buy one, like directly from Apple. Show up at the garage, knock on the door, get a picture of Woz handing it to you, but you give him the bunny ears above his head. Yeah. Sell that thing for a bunch.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He'd probably more likely give you the bunny ears while he sold it to you, but whatever. Right. Any bunny ears will work.
Yeah, I think so. In that sense, it would actually be what I was thinking on a sort of. So that would be the obvious thing. That's probably what I'd actually do with this Wimpy Genie named Jack Nutting. What I sort of in the spirit of the game, maybe I would. I think maybe what I would do would be to get myself like a storage space, because so that I would not. Well, see, I'm not sure that would actually do it. But see, like many of us, I think along the way, I did not think about the fact that maybe this computer I have is something I'm going to later want. What I actually want is like this computer plus one generation. So I would ditch the old one and get the new one repeatedly. And then, I would buy them all back again later. So
you'd be kind of in a loop.
It would be nice, I think, if I had a place that I could put because I believe actually that my SE30, I think I just threw it away. Like I don't think I traded it in, gave it to anybody. I think it just went to the dumpster. And that's so sad.
That is sad.
I like that computer a lot. I mean, I was sad at the time too, but I did it anyway because where am I going to put it? So I kind of like the storage space idea because that would sort of, even if it didn't make it cheaper to get the next generation of computer, it would at least have, there's some weird, Wimpy Genie showed up and bought me a storage space. That must, that must be destiny.
I'd say if that happens, then yeah, you're probably looking at, the universe being on your side.
Right. Yeah. Either that or it's time to check into the institution.
Oh yeah, if a weird guy shows up and says, "Let me bring you to my storage space," you do not go with him, Paul.
That's right.
And if he says I'm a Wimpy Genie, that does not change your mind.
I've just been watching a show. It's a German show on Netflix called. It's actually maybe it is Netflix produced, called Dark, and it is a weird sort of like time travel murder mystery thing. But this kind of thing comes up, that trying to
Wimpy Genies and storage spaces and time travel.
Instruct your.
I want to watch that show.
It's good. It's not everything is resolved at the end of the first season. I have discovered, having reached the end of the first season. There's a second season, and I think
okay, good.
A third season that will arrive. So I already know there's going to be something left at the end of the second season.
Could be something.
All right. Oh, okay, that's cool. Have we sort of instructed the genie enough?
Yes. We got a comment
push
from our founder, David Grealish, asking Paul to turn up his microphone. In reply, I will say, I remember when we used to do these live with David, and David insisted on talking into the wrong part of the microphone. Hi, David. The Yeti is a front fire microphone, not a top fire microphone.
Right.
Oh.
So you don't get to tell us.
That's interesting. I wonder. I'll take a look here. I guess it is true that it is registering kind of low. But I wonder if it's registering low in audio hijack. Hello.
Hi, Jack.
Editing, cutting room
Hi,
floor.
Jack.
I guess I could just sit here, but this is risky. Dare I touch the gain?
Pull something out of the pile behind you. Do it. Do it.
Okay, hold on a second. Where is the gain? It's one of these two buttons that I can't see. Hang on.
On the back, it is top of the two.
Okay, and the top.
In your
is
case,
down
bottom.
here.
It's microphone side of the two.
Okay. Let me move this up.
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen?
Well, the worst that can happen is I will have a lot of clipping that I'll have to get rid of.
Yep, but hey, you edit
Yep,
it, so what do we
that's true.
care?
Okay, I'm turning up the gain a little bit. Looks like it is.
Style him up
Oh.
while he does this.
That's good. All right. I think I'm touching the gain.
Yes.
It doesn't actually seem like anything's changing.
Ooh, we've
here.
made you full screen. Everyone stare at
So
Paul.
I turned
while
up
he
the
does
gain,
this.
and I became large.
You turned up your gain.
That's cool. I don't. I'm not sure if did that change anything. Do I seem more audible now? Yes, says David. All right,
Excellent. David knows.
cool.
You do actually sound better. Yay.
Excellent. What is in the pile behind me? So the
Ooh, I
this
like
thing
this.
is
Just switch to like side-by-side mode.
Apple II, like a Apple II Plus box. That is.
I'll take Carrington for
Apple-
the win.
Oh, you can't see it. Oh well. I guess I have a fairly narrow window here now.
Now we
whatever.
can
We let
There's
Earl
some
in
stuff
charge of the switcher. Zoom
Somebody
in on
made a
my collection.
Big mistake. Here, I'll zoom you in again, Paul. What were you showing us?
I was just going to point out that let's see, that's a old Disc 2 box. Here we have the MX80 Epson box, Apple II Plus box.
Are those
Very
boxes,
nice.
do they contain the thing they say they contain?
I think so. Yeah.
You're not sure.
Usually they do. on alternate Tuesdays they don't, but usually they do.
Excellent.
Okay. Anyway,
Schrodinger's collection.
let us go back here. Okay. Let's see. So I guess that what that means is I'm going to have to crank up the audio on myself in the first part of the thing. But whatever. Okay, that's exciting. And now let's see. We can, having instructed the genie adequately, we can move on to the items of interest in news. Carrington, you have the first one.
I do. Oh, we have no feedback? Oh, I guess the thing only came out.
Oh yeah. Well, that's good. I got all distracted by like these boxes on behind me. We could talk about feedback. Should we do that?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. There's a little bit. Let me find it here. So the first bit of feedback was mentioned on Twitter, I think, that we were talking, Doom came up the last couple of episodes, and the Dev Game Club has recently had a bonus interview. It's a podcast, I guess, and it has a bonus interview with John Romero. And it looks like it's like an hour long or something. I haven't listened to it, but we can link to it. Has anyone here listened to it?
I have not.
Okay. Anyway, I had when I posted the thing. Now I'm trying to remember, what episode are we on? 203. I think I posted 201 with an embedded Doom ad, even though we only barely mentioned Doom, and then we mentioned Doom more on 202. But at any rate,
It wasn't Doom
always
2, it was
relevant.
Doom More.
Someone so I got a relatively new MacBook Pro that has one of these touch bar things, and somewhere out there on the web you can find someone has ported Doom to the touch bar,
Of course they have. Of
so you can play that.
course they have.
Because I believe the touch bar is basically like an Apple Watch in your keyboard.
I do not like the touch bar on my computer. Mostly because I hit it by mistake. I'm in Photoshop, and all the time it's like, oh, you want a new document? I'm like, no, my fingers just wander.
Yeah.
I like lightly rest my fingers all over my computer, apparently.
Yeah. I discovered that I have often, I guess I just hover over the escape key, because I'm always hitting it. Like, and usually I would actually I would push down when I wanted to escape, and I would just sit there otherwise. But apparently now I'm hitting escape all the time.
All the time. Yep, me too.
So the new ones, the very new ones, have an actual physical escape key again. So
Nice.
anyway, and I didn't even mention that Michael was the one who mentioned this on Twitter to us, the John Romero interview.
Thank you, Michael.
So check that out. Klaus on Facebook mentioned that we've been talking a lot about old floppies and their, like just getting stuff off of them and using them and things. And he was saying that CDs and CDRs have been failing to read a lot as well. So this, I believe it.
I've had that from the late 90s, some CDs that just disc rot, They were in a cool, dry place, but still, the CDRs that just started going bad.
Well, and actually, I remember I had quite a few that were bad, 4 hours after burning them.
Yeah, me too.
That was not a very reliable medium.
I'm a little more concerned about the things that have gone bad that I don't know they've gone bad. Like I have a lot of backups on hard drive, and I take one drive, I just copy it all over to another, go, well, that must be good, and I stick it on a shelf. But I don't actually check it. I don't do like a checksum. Like who knows how much bit rot I have that I've been just carrying over from faulty drive to faulty drive. So I probably have tons of things that have failed, but like most things, I archive them and I never look at them. So maybe it doesn't matter.
Right.
So anecdotally, I think from what I've read, you're going to have a better time with that than you would with modern SSDs. Because I think, they're kind of looking at it and going, looks like modern SSDs may not stand the test of time on the shelf as well as magnetic media.
Oh, just like sitting there not being used.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of my long-term backups are all to spinning discs still. I'm still doing it. Actually, most of my backups, I went to like Michael's, one of those craft stores, and I just got a whole bunch of big little rocks and little rocks, and I just use them as ones and zeros, and I just line them up down the condo
Yeah,
hallway.
that'll work.
Yeah.
I just told everybody to not touch them, and there you go.
Seems good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So part of this Facebook post was that Klaus was mentioning using so far only DVD drives and having failures, and was wondering if it would be likely to have more success on like an older but actually just CD drive. And I have no idea. Does anyone know? It seems like it might be true. I mean,
how do you get just a CD drive anymore? That's data based.
well, I suppose you could. I think I have a 1X CD burner, somewhere.
Well, you probably do. You
USB
probably
1.
have, or you probably have some old. What is the Apple? This CD 300 and the CD 600. So you can go super slow, and they were audio disc players too. So
Yeah.
stuff.
Do I have any CDs anymore? I guess I have a few. There was a time, probably a decade ago, when I kind of purged my CD collection. Which is kind of dumb, but whatever.
I only back up to vinyl now.
Yeah, I have quite a lot of vinyl.
My backups sound better, man.
Right.
I like the warmth in my data that it adds, the crackle and the pop.
fuzzy
man.
ones.
Exactly.
Okay. Anyway, that was. I believe that there is more feedback that I'm missing, but
that's good.
That's some anyway. So now
that's some feedback.
excellent. Okay, now we can turn to the items of interest in news, and I say that with this emphasis on now, because before I went to it too early, but that probably got cut out of the podcast, as did all this.
So you never heard it unless you're watching live.
Exactly.
In which case,
very exciting.
yes.
It's all out of order. Okay, go ahead with your item here.
My first item is a love letter to my website. Not my website, but this person's website. Somebody wrote a love letter to the notion of personal websites. Either last episode or the episode before, and I've shared the screen so people can take a look at it. Earl, switch them over. You got this. There was this idea I talked about a couple episodes ago that I think was central to one of the big histories of computer books, this idea that like a desire for like a computer that's yours, that you own. And that's like so fundamentally different than a lot of people use computers and computing devices nowadays. But this idea that it's my computer, that I can do what I want with, and I can program it, and it's mine, and it's not locked down by DRM, and it's less functional maybe, but it's my thing. It's a truly personal computer. This article takes that same sort of stance, but for weblogs, for the old blog. And I haven't seen a lot of people like super nostalgia for the idea of a blog, but that's what this is about. Talks about our site was a little corner of the internet that we could own. And so this article, which is really fascinating and really personal, just talks about the importance and the love of having a personal website that you're going to put up your own links, your own diary, your own pictures, your own whatever. But it's like, it's your thing, separate from just sharing stuff on Facebook, just sharing stuff on whatever the latest version of AOL is. It's all AOL to me. You call it Facebook, I know it's AOL. I'm not fooled. So this idea that you could have your own little website that you do your own stuff on, and that it's very personal. I thought it was just beautiful. It made me nostalgia for blogs. It made me want to start doing blogging again. It was really nice. So if you don't think you could ever miss blogging, I suggest that you read this article, and it might change your mind, because I thought it was really beautiful and made me nostalgia for the whole idea of a personal website. I like it. I miss them. They were ugly and they were always under construction, but whatever.
those little animated under construction graphics are great.
I love those. Yeah, I haven't read this article yet, but I find it kind of, I don't know, almost scary that having your own website is something that's now getting into the realm of retro. Because, I mean, a lot of this was late 90s, right? When people were discovering the web and they were jumping on and doing some sort of and some of them were so horrible. Mine was horrible. I did a website back then, I think 97, where I had just crazy random stuff up there, like an ultrasound of my son. Before he was even born, he was on the internet. And I had a picture of me next to the Beatles at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, and just, other crazy whimsical stuff. Like, who cares about this kind of thing? But it was fun. My friends liked it. It was exciting, the early days of the internet. And I don't think we really do that kind of stuff that way anymore. It seems like, well, other than if you're watching this right now, we're not very curated. But a lot of the stuff that's on the internet these days, even if people have like a Twitter or a video blog or something like that, it's also curated and polished and everything like that. It doesn't have that kind of crazy rough feel. Well,
I get the appeal too, like social platforms. If you put things on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, it can feel much more engaged because everybody's there and everybody's commenting and talking. So when you put up a website, especially in the early days, you're just putting it up and like, who knows if anybody sees it? Like, it was just a thing shouting into the wind. So I can see that there's that appeal, the immediate gratification of knowing I posted a thing on Facebook, I got likes, everybody's happy, everybody's like, I think it makes you feel more popular, makes you feel more engaged, like you're doing something with your post. But it's so ephemeral. Like, who knows what, like, my Twitter feed is not going to stay around. I don't own that. It's not like a domain name. I guess it's hard to archive your own stuff permanently, but if you stick up a website, it can get gobbled up in archive.org, and then your great grandchildren could look at your ridiculous and small-minded and racist opinions that they're ashamed of. But whatever, like, that's how all great-grandchildren think of us, right? So whereas things like your Facebook wall, that's just going to go away, man. Like, so if you want to stick a stake in the ground or have something that stays around, maybe it's a little more possible with a personal website. I mean, more possible if you just line up the stones down the hallway. Like I said, line up the stones, man. That's the secret to long-term data. But barring that, personal website, I don't know. I just hadn't really thought of it before. I hadn't really been nostalgia for blogging, and this site or this article really made me think. Oh, I wonder if I should go back to like shouting into the wind. Maybe.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting how it does seem fleeting. Everything that you do on everything.
Just scrolls off the top, man.
Yep,
it's gone.
I think that should be our new quote. New slogan for the RCR. Paul says, like, everything you do is fleeting.
That's right. But it is funny to go back to those, your own actual websites of the 2000s or whatever, late 90s, and all the graphics are this big.
Oh, that's right, the postage stamps. Yeah, I actually found some of my old stuff that I posted on archive.org, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So moving on from that, we have. Oh, see, I think there are actually various things about the TRS-80s that there are to say things to say to this time, but the first of which Earl is going to say. So here you go.
Yeah, I was looking
Smooth
around,
transition.
seeing what's going on in the retro world. I looked at Vintage is the New Old, which I love that website. And they had an article about someone doing an amateur, but what looks like a really good port of the Oregon Trail game onto the TRS-80 Coco.
I prefer to pronounce it Origin.
That's right.
Soft G all the way, man.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm actually in Oregon. And the funny thing is, I've never played this game. And that was one of the comments that I saw on the Facebook posting for this. Another
What, that
person
you had never
saying-
played it?
No, that the person was saying I'm probably the only retro person who hasn't played this game, and you're not, because
Nope,
I haven't either.
Really?
But
No, never.
I haven't. I mean,
No.
I've actually been to the end of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center. I mean, I live here, and I've never played the game. But then again, I've never died of dysentery either. So that's a plus.
Yeah, we never had it. It was never part of like a school thing here, or never played it in school. I never went to a school that had Apple II computers, like when I was young. So I don't know, just never was exposed to it. And once you get a bit older, let's face it, this isn't a game that actually looks any fun. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Minnesota, home of the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium. So
Oh, the
we had-
MECC.
yeah,
Wow, yeah.
they in fact wrote Oregon Trail, so or published it at least. So it was definitely everywhere for me.
So the Coco is finally going to get it. I had a Coco, although I never played Oregon Trail. Maybe I'll play it now that it comes out on the Coco. I'll go get myself another Coco. I loved my Coco. Hated that keyboard, but I love the computer.
You'd mentioned that you had a fond memories
Yeah,
of
I had the Coco one.
Coco.
And my fondest, I don't know the fondest, but my strongest memory is of when you look at it, it looks like a big metal substantial thing, and you pick it up and it weighs half a gram. Like it's all
Yeah.
it is in plastic and nothing. It is so
Anti-gravity.
shockingly light for its size. It's crazy.
So the port's being done by a gentleman named Paul Shoemaker, and I guess it was originally posted on the TRS-80 Color Computer Facebook page, which will have a link to that up in the show notes. It might get released this year, and it's going to be freeware. And this was something that was amazing to me. I didn't realize that on the Apple II, and I'm not sure, maybe other platforms too, that Oregon Trail was mostly written in BASIC with some assembly language thrown in there to speed up some things. But
Interesting.
yeah, I
I
found
didn't know
that
that.
kind of fascinating. And it's making it a lot easier for him to do his port, apparently, over to the Coco. So there's a YouTube video as well, which you can get to from the link on the vintageisthenewOld.com link that we'll have up there. And it's got some preview screens of the port in progress. At the time of the posting, it was about 40% done, but Paul Shoemaker had mentioned the important parts were done. And I watched the YouTube video, and it looks really well done. So way to go.
Cool. Yeah, I would like to try getting into the color computer at some point. I'm physically prepared, but I have not had the time to like turn anything on. So,
Do you have one in that wall behind you?
well, yeah, I was just kind of looking around. I'm trying to remember where.
Where'd
I
it
put
go again?
It used to be up there. I'm not sure what. Maybe I put it in a box or something, but yeah, I
For
have
those not watching, he was pointing at me. I don't have your
Oh.
Coco.
Yes, sorry, but yeah, I have a 2 and a 3, I think. So, or maybe a 1 and a 3. Actually, that's more likely. I don't know. Someday. Okay, so my thing is actually Don wrote over email to tell us about it, but it is he's mentioning first a site called Retro Game Dev, which I am not familiar with, but this is Derek Morris, who is basically teaching you to create your own games for classic retro systems. Is this something that either of you had heard of before?
Nope.
No.
So it's nor had I, but now at least we have announced it to the world. I guess it is. Well, there's a Patreon. I'm not actually sure how the pre-Patreon stuff worked, but there's a Patreon where for $2 per lesson you get a monthly tutorial PDF, sort of like a chapter in part of what I think is going to be a 6502 NES game being written from scratch, and that there is also going to be a Commodore 64 game going forward at some point. So if you are interested in doing this, Don says that he is a big fan of the teaching style, the retro game dev teaching style, great for beginners. And so if that is something that is interesting to you, it's possible that having the structure of something like this could help you get to the end. Like I think we all kind of believe that, well, we could read a book and figure out how to do it, but
apparently not.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, what is this, like 40 years and counting or whatever?
I mean, last time we talked about that person who wrote the How Not to Learn Assembler article, and I'm still all on top of that. I am still really great at not learning assembler. I got that mastered. I have mastered not learning assembler.
Right.
Well, I've kind of found, even with the new tech topics, even with modern stuff, I'm kind of video addicted these days. I want to see something on YouTube or Pluralsight or, something that's going to actually walk you through. It just seems like such a more efficient way of learning this stuff than trying to go read a book. Hardly ever go read a book on tech topics anymore for a couple reasons. I mean, one of them is with modern stuff, by the time you get the book, it's usually halfway out of date anyway.
The other is I can't read.
There's a YouTube for that, though, Carrington.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So, so moving on to the next thing. Carrington, tell us about obsolete Apple computers.
Can't make me. So in case you're wondering if Apple keeps a list of its vintage, what it calls vintage and obsolete products, it does indeed. I don't know how I stumbled on this, or if it's a link or whatever, but on the support.apple.com site, and I've shared the link now if you want to look at it on screen, it's not that exciting. There is a list, and it goes and goes and goes of all the products Apple no longer makes. And so you can, it just goes and it goes and it goes, and it's obsolete stuff. And a couple of things here are interesting. If you scroll up and look at the list of Macintosh desktops no longer made, it includes things like Apple I, Apple II, Apple III.
Oh, that's
the
cool.
Lisa, they're under Mac desktops, whatever, but they're lumped together. So it should be going out the Lisa and the Lisa II. So it seems that Apple differentiates between vintage, which hasn't been made for at least 4 years, or I guess that's 5 years, and then obsolete, which means it hasn't been made for more than 7 years. And I think that is because of a legal requirement for companies to offer you parts. So in most countries, there's something where even past a warranty period, a company has to, like for some reasonable date, whatever, it's kind of vaguely defined, but for a reasonable period beyond your warranty, a company has to be able to supply you parts or be able to offer service. Not free service, because that's you're outside the warranty, but you have to, it can't be like the day your warranty expires, that's it, too bad for you. If anything goes wrong, you're screwed. And so Apple seems to define that as 5 years or 7 years. And I think they do that because different countries probably have different requirements. And it seems in the States, they differentiate it, and they say worldwide, they consider everything longer than 5 years to be just obsolete. So that's how Apple defines it. But it's just neat to find this list. So to go down and see, it'd be neat to print this out and check off, like, how many did you have? How many did you wish you have? Here's the list of all the iPods. And so it's just kind of neat to see all these many products. And even just reading the names kind of brings back some memories. It's weird. So it is the vintage and obsolete products page on Apple, which presumably they keep up to date all the time, but it's got all the old stuff in it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty hilarious that the Apple One is in there. But somebody still has a sense of humor there.
And I think they keep this as well because it says on the site, if you go into an Apple store looking for parts and your computer is considered vintage or earlier, like so if it's on the vintage list, means it's been discontinued, but it's less than 5 years, then they might be able to find you parts. But if your computer is listed here as obsolete, they will not. They like no matter what, even if they have the parts, they refuse to offer service or parts for those products. So it must be like they draw a line in the sand and say, nope, we don't want to be responsible. We're not doing it. Don't even ask us. You're on the list. You can't get it. So if you go in looking for, because we've joked about that. I'm going to take my my SE into the Apple store and see what they say. They would no doubt look it up on this and go, nope, it's considered obsolete. We cannot offer you service. No advice, no service, no anything. So taking a hard line in the sand.
Oh, well. Yeah,
So I'll be back tomorrow with the Laser Raider 3. So, just keep coming back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Mike McGinnis has brought like an early Rev Zero Apple II or something into an Apple store, just to show them. I think more than to ask for service.
I wonder how many people working there would know what the heck it is.
Yeah, it's a good question. I wonder how many of the people working there were actually alive as long as that machine had existed.
True. So. Good question.
So I was just cycling through here to see if they listed the different Apple II models separately, but it looks like they lumped them all.
Yeah,
into
it says
just
Apple II,
Apple II.
all models. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Apple 1 and Apple 3, it just says those because there was only the one. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the 3 Plus.
I think they lumped that under 3.
Yeah. All right. So the next thing.
No. 3 Plus, they shouldn't have. You're right. There was a 3 Plus, so it should say, right, that means it's not on the list.
Oh.
You should be able to go in with an Apple 3 Plus and go, no. It says Apple II all models. This just says the Apple 3. I've got a 3 Plus, and I want a new motherboard.
That's right. That's a perfect.
I love it.
Give
Do
that
it.
a try.
Yep.
They'll say,
get out of our store, you crazy person.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I just set it down and leave it there, it'll take several people to help move it out. So
it's true.
Okay. So let's see. The next thing I have, it was just shared to our Facebook page, but it is the TRS-80 Model 3 Papercraft from Rocky Bergen. So we've featured a number of these before.
They're so good. They are heart achingly good. I can't believe how good these things are. They just are amazing.
So it has the screen is being shared here, but it's got a little picture of the dancing demon on it, and really pretty nice binder and the whatever it is, the instruction manual for it. So looks very pleasing. And actually, when I went to look at this, I observed that we had actually also missed the Apple Lisa 1 when it had been posted. So here's the Lisa 1. Also looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I have not.
So
made
you've got
any
a
of
profile up on top. It looks like.
Yeah, and little 8-inch or not 8-inch. What do you call them? But the Lisa
Twiggy?
floppies.
Twiggy
yeah,
drives?
Twiggy. That was the thing I was looking for.
So good.
Very nice. Very nice. I think I would like to make all of these, but I have no place to put them. So, at any rate,
We can see.
yes. And then the other thing that came up. So this came up because I was looking through eBay auctions and I saw that there was somebody was selling a TRS-80 Model 4, which I decided not to put in my list because it was it was too expensive or whatever. But it came with a bunch of things, and one of the things it came with was Zaxxon. And there's a Zaxxon for the TRS-80 Model 1.
That's actually pretty impressive.
And it's not bad, yeah.
That's remarkably impressive. Look at that. Holy moly.
Yeah. So anyway, I was impressed by that because it seems like it's a complex game. Anyway,
on a Model 1?
It looks better than it does on the Apple II, basically, because on the Apple II they try to put color in it and it's like half the frame rate.
That's remarkable that it could handle that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, so that was my extra bonus fact, but mainly just go get the paperwork.
I dig it.
Papercraft. Okay, so the upcoming show roundup has not changed at all since the last time we recorded. You could refer back to the previous episode, but I will just say WASFest 14.25045 megahertz is coming up super soon, Saturday, November 23rd.
Did we ever figure out what that frequency is for?
Nope, but we've mentioned it now. This is the third show in a row.
Someone
mention
tell us, please.
Also, I think Jack might go to the retro gathering. Is that the one? No, I forget. There was something that we kept mentioning. It was the week-long Atari thing.
Oh, that's right.
that got a year's worth of
Jack
mentioning.
and Kevin Savitz.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
There you go, Jim.
Anyway, yes, it's I never did look it up, but I'm pretty sure there is a 14.25045 megahertz crystal somewhere on the Apple II board.
Somewhere.
I think it's in a corner.
It knows what it did.
That's right. When I do this, I'm pointing at Carrington. Yes.
Me too.
It was Fujiyama, right?
Yes, Fujiyama.
Yeah, I just
that's it.
popped back into my head.
Okay. So anyway, that's November 23rd in Sydney. VCF Pacific Northwest, March 21st to 22nd in Seattle at the Living
Woohoo!
Computer Museum Plus Labs, where we promise you can meet Earl.
That's
if
right.
you go.
Yep.
Except if you are Earl. And then VCF East, April 24th to 26th in Wall, New Jersey at the InfoAge Science Center. So, and with that, I guess we are ready for a word from our sponsor.
Earl.
Yes.
Get one.
Very smooth. All right. Let me start closing tabs.
Closing tabs.
Oh, actually, if I were wise, I would move all of this operation into Chrome.
Yes. I don't use Chrome much, but I use it all when we're doing this streamy thing. So I'm like everything, all Chrome all the time.
Yeah.
What's your daily driver?
Safari.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mostly I have other people search for things and then just tell them to me. Oh, Bob, what's on eBay?
Did you ever see that Dilbert where pointy-haired boss man says, I don't have time to surf the internet. Could you print it out for me?
Right.
Excellent.
Yes, that also came to mind.
It's one of my favorites. I want that on a mug. Somebody get on that.
It probably exists.
All right, what is happening on my screen? All right, I think I could probably stop sharing that, but I'm attempting to take the time here to open links before we restart.
And we are still live, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Makes for great TV.
That's what people get for tuning in.
That's right.
Looking at you, David.
Okay. And we're back. So the host retro computing gift idea was actually an idea that Earl had some time ago, because it was the 50th anniversary, some like round number anniversary of Space Invaders.
I can't remember. I don't even know what I had for lunch today. So.
Oh well, okay. I was
50.
I was going to say, so maybe Earl remembers it better, but maybe not.
No, I do remember putting this up and being really excited that this product was going to come out. And I guess now we're further down the line, right? Toward getting it.
That's how time works.
Yep. So maybe it's the 40th anniversary. I don't know. Anyway.
I'm going to guess 25th.
All right.
Maybe a couple years ago it would be the 25th, probably.
2019 minus 1978.
Space Invaders?
41.
Yeah.
No, that's from the 80s, right? From the early 80s.
1978.
78.
Yeah, there
Okay.
you go.
So
Okay, late 70s. That's why I said.
anyway, so we of course not. I don't think we've said what this is yet, but
yes.
it is Space Invaders, the board game. And is it on my screen? It is not on my screen because I'm sharing some different tab. That's great. I don't know how this screen sharing works.
Share this here?
Oh.
Nope, I still see Rocky Bergman.
Yeah.
Bergen. Sorry. Sorry, Rocky.
But okay, so anyway, what it is, I'll just paste it in here. It is the Space Invaders, the board game. It was a Kickstarter, but at this point, it is so it's long funded, but you can go to a pre-order page and buy it for $35. It is supposed to be shipping in December, so it might be in time for the gift-giving holidays, but at any rate, it should be soon. There was an update. They posted an update sometime here quite recently. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Everybody's watching me scroll around and making everyone seasick.
No, I just started sharing it again.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so if we go to the Kickstarter page, there's a little bit more of a description of like what it is, and you can sort of see it has little pieces, and I don't know how you play it, but it seems kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a relatively recent update. Dear backers, please excuse the late update, but it was November 15th, so just 2 days ago.
This is breaking news.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know for sure if it's going to be available for the for gifts, but it's close at least. So
Awesome.
that's pretty cool.
Nice.
All right, so that you can get that for your computer nerd friends, retro computer nerd friends.
I think
And-
everybody knows Space Invaders, though.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think you have to be particularly retro-minded to remember Space Invaders or
Well, no, but I think you
Asteroids.
probably have to be retro-minded to want that as a gift.
Okay, fair enough.
Like my sister would have heard of Space Invaders, but she would also wonder why the heck I bought her the board game.
Well, unless you're a board game enthusiast, which I know some of those.
Yeah. It is. I mean, we could just focus on that for a second. It's kind of funny, actually, right? I mean, it's a board game for Space Invaders. That these
Taken
things
from
do
a
not
video
always
game.
translate well.
I can
Well,
see
that's true.
this might though, if it was a two-player game, and especially if it was done like Crokinole, where you ping the little. Did you guys ever play that?
No.
Okay, maybe it's a Canadian thing. You have little wooden circles, and you kind of flick them towards a center hole. It's kind of like shuffleboard, but done with flicking your fingers. But
Well,
anyway,
that's called curling, isn't it?
well, yes, but that's on ice. So this is instead inside. Both involve alcohol, and so that kind of thing where you might be trying to move your guy in the bottom, and you're flicking thing. I don't know. I'm saying if it's violent, it could be good. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a default stance I'm taking.
I don't want to be the one that plays the aliens that, like every move is like, all right, one more to the left. All right, down.
You had to move all your pieces. That's right.
Okay. But once you're done buying those, they were buying that, I guess, you could turn to eBay, and Carrington has found the perfect thing for this gift-giving season.
If
His
you're-
Wimpy Genie.
We'll say this is how my Genie would solve this. So you say, I want to go back in time, I'm going to make a ton of money. Hey, Wimpy Genie, I want to go back in time and buy an Apple One. And so the Genie sends you back 1 week and says, there it is. It's available on eBay. Buy it, because don't mess with Genies. They will always screw you. I don't know if you've ever read a Genie story. It never ends up well for the people. So there is, weirdly, an Apple One on eBay, and we didn't pick it last time because apparently that's not an interesting enough thing for us to pick. But $1.75 million, buy it now, but also we'll take a make offer. This is not how you sell one of these things. I don't even understand this, but somebody has placed a full-on Apple One, and it's available on eBay.
I wonder if it's even possible. Like, I mean, like in the end, is it possible to buy that? Can you PayPal millions of dollars to somebody?
This is a good question. I don't know, but there's the board. I don't even know how many of these are like actual pictures or that's a stock photo. Like, I guess that's the actual one. And I don't know. It's very weird. But this person, but they have got 141 positive feedbacks. And we've been taught in the last few episodes that we should look at who's selling it. So do you know who this is, Paul?
Let's see.
Is it you?
It is not.
Are you selling
no,
one
no,
of
I
your
don't.
three?
This is not somebody that I've seen before, but
Okay, well, there you go.
other
There's a
items.
make offer,
There's a make offer.
$100.
I'm probably going to lowball it. Anyway, there you go. Apple One. Don't know if it comes. Does it include shipping? I got to calculate. Ships worldwide though. So anyway, it's very weird. There you go. It's an Apple One. That's my first choice. The Wimpy Genie will always screw you.
Yep.
Second choice, which I should be able to just put into this same tab. Does this work? Yeah. Okay. Mountain Computer Expansion Chassis. I don't know what this is, but I think maybe we mentioned one of these before, and Paul is going to tell us all about it. But this looks really cool. So as far as I can tell, this plugs into an Apple II and gives you even more slots. Is that how this works?
Yep. And I'm clicking on
Buy it now?
your shared screen, trying to like go to the different pictures rather than because I'm like,
You can
why
just say
is this
left,
working? Why is
left,
it not
right,
working?
left, right.
Yeah. So this is it's interesting because its design is like a weird, like a huge disc tube or something. It has these like superfluous vents.
I like that it's
On the
got
edge.
the feet still on the bottom. Boy, Chrome is slow with popping up these things.
Yeah.
I like that it's got the feet, so that's good.
But yeah, it is. It is in fact just as you say. It is. It provides extra slots. So I think you plug it into a slot in your computer, and then you get however many are in there, 6 extras.
Right.
I actually have no idea how it works. So obviously the thing is that these computers are kind of basic, and so you address them like whatever's in slot 2 by saying I would like to talk to, or I'd like to read the ROM, from C200 to C2FF. I don't know what you get if you have something in your actual slot 2 and in your expansion chassis slot 2.
Well,
but
presumably it's just passing it on. So you put an expansion chassis, and then it says, okay, this is in slot 2, and then you can switch and say, now the card that's number 6 in the expansion chassis is plugged into slot 2. But weren't there a lot of cards that have to be in particular slots or they don't work well? And also, like, how many slots does a person need? Like, who's got it so filled up and go, no, I got 6 more cards that I have to have in at all time? It doesn't seem like this would be like something that useful, but it's kind of neat. It's $600. I don't know if that's a good price, but I thought it was interesting.
Well, there's a big offer.
There are cards that, so cards do have a little bit of a ROM space, a firmware space that you can put code in. So like if you want to boot a disk drive, the disk 2, you type C600G to go to that location, and it would run the little booting procedure. The same thing as what you get if you type P number 6. And then, but I think there are other cards that don't. That
just don't.
Well, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of like what examples might be, but that don't have firmware, and that that sort of like a RAM card maybe might not actually need to occupy that firmware spot.
How about if you had a whole bunch of printers, and so you keep them all hooked up at once, because you'd have a bunch of like parallel cards, but you just switch to card number 6, which is hooked up to a certain printer, and so maybe use that as a printer networking. I don't know. It's a stretch.
Yeah. I do think that it is not, it's not logically possible to have more than the more cards than
people
than there's space for in your memory, in your whatever the
challenge accepted
ROM space. So, except to the extent that they don't need that firmware area. So, so I think there are cards that sort of respond to conditions in the machine, like RAM cards or something, that will sort of override. That don't sort of need their slot assignment space, and you could give it to something else. So you might be able to get some other things going. Anyway, someone listening to this is probably just saying, there's not this obvious use case, and it is this, and why are you not saying it? But I can't remember what it would be if I ever knew.
Well, please feedback at rcrpodcast.com if that's you.
Exactly. And I got one last one, which is, I think, the worst ad for an SE30 ever on eBay. I love it. It's amazing. It's $200 buy it now, which is a very good price for an SE30, except this one seems to need recapping and it's not working. But what's a joy about this are the photos. The photos are stunning. Now, but it's one of those ads where it comes with a bunch of really interesting things. It has this keyboard cover, and those are cool. Like, to get a keyboard cover is neat. It also has like this floppy disk wallet, but there's your computer. It's shown to be working, by which I mean it lights up and has a bunch of, is that just a bad screen? Almost certainly needs to be recapped. SE30s don't generally need to be recapped. And so it ain't working as it is. You're not going to adjust that with a knob. That's a capping problem. But comes with a mouse. That's cool. Comes with documents. That's cool. Comes with this fuzzy photo. Why would somebody post this photo? It's a completely fuzzy, who knows what it is.
It's clearly Bigfoot.
I think that's the word hypercard. I don't know. So there's a fuzzy photo. Great. Here's the keyboard, but with that little cover. And the covers are really cool. So that's neat. Comes with a floppy disk wallet thing. I like this. So the stuff that comes with this computer, I'm really interested in. I'm really interested in that cover. And I'm really interested in this little floppy disk on the go wallet. So, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think if you look at these corners, I'm pretty sure it seals with Velcro. And that just makes me love this. Because you'd be like, let me just pull out my floppy. And you'd be like the coolest guy there ever was. I want to be that guy.
One of those. I got one of those for $3.50.
Oh, wouldn't it be great?
Yeah, there's.
I just want to go to like a
cool.
Starbucks and pull up my computer and be typing, and then when it's time to save, open up the wallet and pop in the floppy, yo. It'd be amazing. So this stuff that comes with this, it comes with a bag. Like the things, like the carrying bags cost quite a bit. So forget the computer. It comes with a calculator. Apparently, why is there a calculator? Why is there a calculator in a Ziploc bag? I do not understand. It's like 2 floppies in Ziploc bags and a calculator in a Ziploc bag, and I don't understand why. So it's the weirdest ad. So the stuff that comes with it might actually be worth the $200, I guess. And you might say, ship it to me, but I want want to save on shipping. Don't give me the computer. I just want all the other stuff. I don't know. Why is there a photo that's out of focus? I don't know. I don't even understand this ad, but I love it. And I want that Velcro wallet is what I'm saying. That's the real reason.
Yep, it's very cool.
Yep. Worst ad ever, and I adore it.
I have that bag, like right here next to me.
Oh, the actual carrying case bag?
Yeah, let's see if I can make it
Do
visible.
it.
Oh,
Do
it's
it.
heavy.
Is it because it has a computer in it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then of course it's heavy. Those were not light computers. They're not portables.
SE30.
SE30, does it work better than the one in this ad?
I don't think it's the one in the ad. But like I don't think that's my ad.
Oh, I didn't even look. What is it? Oh, it'd be hilarious if I was making fun of the ad and it was
Oh,
yours.
nice.
That'd be the best. Oh, cool. Look at you.
Apple mouse pad.
See? That doesn't come in this. Anyway,
See,
I
I
love
would
this
not-
auction and I want it.
If you hadn't brought that auction up, I probably would have not taken that out for 2 years. So
See? That was my gift to you.
excellent. Right. Let's see. What's next? Who's next?
Probably.
Yes, Earl, you have.
Oh,
you
Earl.
have something. Oh, I saw this when I was going through.
I just
things.
have one,
Yep.
and let me
Slacker.
here. So, this is an Atari 800, and
For $1,000.
for a lot of money. And let me see if I can alt tab over to where do I have this open? Come on, for sure. Anyway, I don't need to scroll around in here. I just want to point out it is an Atari 800 with a black case.
Did it come
And-
black or was it painted black?
The person in the auction says the plastic is black all the way through. It's not painted.
Okay.
But the top grill on the top of the 800 is white, or the beige, that they came in.
And the box that it came in is white.
And it doesn't have the little flippy top anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing about this Atari 800 is it's claimed that this was used actually at Atari in their home computer division. And there's a little tag, a little label on it in the lower right that actually shows that it was used in the Atari. Let's see if I can get that.
HCD Engineering Lab.
Yeah.
So that tag was used in that lab.
That's right. Let me see if I can
Have you ever
find
you've gotten like a
that
like
tag.
whatever little like thing of broccoli or something like that, and it's got a little
There we go.
or like a banana. You have like a little dole thing. You just stick it on something.
Yeah, exactly.
This could be what happened here.
This Atari was used by Dole. The man from Del Monte used this this Atari.
So the interesting thing is that the seller has good feedback, and the machine here really does look like some sort of Frankenstein that you might have seen in use in a lab at Atari. However, the provenance of the machine is a little unclear. Like, how did the seller actually come to have this Atari that was used at Atari? It's a little fuzzy on that. And so if I was a serious Atari collector, and if I wanted something that had actually been at the mothership in use at Atari, maybe I would consider buying something like this. But I would have to be pretty darn sure that it actually had been used there, and who took it out of Atari and how did it get sold to who, and how did the seller wind up with it, that kind of thing. But aside from that, it's a really interesting artifact. It is a unique case, and if you look at some of the other pictures, you ask about whether it was painted or something like that, Carrington, but as I scroll over the image here, you can kind of see, if I could get this to stay magnified there. At the bottom, there are some indentations in this case that look more like a prototype, I think, than look like an actual Atari 800 case, right?
So it could be super early.
First off, the texture of the case doesn't seem to be that kind of rough texture like you see with the Atari 800. It's more of a smooth plastic. And also it's got some indentations, like maybe indicating a different fabrication method then
I wonder, are
you
there
saw.
any other differences? I wonder, like, I don't know the Atari 800 well enough to look at it and go, oh, look, this keycap is different than the production model or something.
No, to me, the keys look pretty much the same as on a standard 800. I don't see any differences there. That kind of mustard yellow on the function keys and the color of the normal keyboard keys, that all looks right.
I was
Anyway,
always bothered by that missing. When you look at the function keys on the 800, you go below them all. The one below the start is like, it always looks like it's a missing key.
right, but that's just where the indicator light is.
Yeah, but it looks like it's supposed to have another keycap. Bugs me. I mean, I love the industrial design. I love the 800. That's the opposite of a Coco. The 800, you look at it and go, what a lovely computer. Let me pick it up. Oh, I can't, because it's at 9,000 pounds. It's such a heavy computer for what it is, and I'm a weak man, so those combo means that just stays where it is. Whereas the Coco is crazy light. You just pick it up and throw it to the sky. Like, that's how most people
comes
lose their
down like a
Cocos.
I think pretty heavy
Like a leaf on
due
the wind.
to, it was all the like almost Faraday cage kind of shielding that they had to put into the 800 to meet the FCC requirements, right? I just heard a podcast where they were talking about that. Like, you know,
Who listens to podcasts, you nerd?
you should watch videos instead.
So you could go. I guess I'm sharing the screen, so that's probably good enough. You could probably move to mine.
Yeah,
But
let me do it.
if you go to this seller has been operating for quite a while, and has had a lot of interesting things of various kinds.
Mm-hmm.
But so if you go to the other listings, there's a bunch of other stuff, and I originally thought that this was somebody who had been entrusted with an estate, except that I think the seller actually does know a fair amount about this stuff.
What is a Atari Joy Typer 400?
Well, that was that's it. It's fantastic. Let's see.
What the heck is that thing? It was, when I looked at other items, it was right near the top.
Yeah. So
Is that like an aftermarket keyboard?
yeah, but
the
look at it.
400?
It's
sits
great.
on top.
Oh,
I love this thing. So that was actually, I was like, this was the path I was heading down, was to point this thing out, because it just looks it's so ridiculous.
I adore it. It makes your Atari 400 into like a little mini chunky 800.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
it's
it's a keyboard that
great.
just sits on top, and look at this.
It doesn't sit on top and then actually push the membrane keys, though, does it?
I bet it does.
It might.
I
really
hope
don't
it
know.
does.
Yeah,
Oh,
That would be
that's
so clunky.
Amazing.
look at this thing.
New favorite computer. I want
Typer
an Atari
400.
Joy Typer to stick on top of a 400. It's great. It's just a big, thick, for those listening and not watching, it's just a big, thick keyboard you lay on top of your 400.
Yeah.
Forget that little flat membrane. Now you have a big, 1.5-inch thick keyboard on top of it.
Yeah.
Well, this is sort of like a couple episodes ago, we talked about that new mechanical keyboard for
Right.
MacBook Pros, which is going to be a big keyboard you sit on top of your computer.
Yeah.
They should have called it the Joy Typer.
This is like an early version of that. Yeah.
It's
But-
great.
It does look like from this last photo that, first of all, it does seem to be attached to the inside, so it's not just
So
typing
it's
on the
not just
membrane.
punching the membrane keys. It's actually
Darn.
hardwired.
Not nearly as fun.
I think they had those, though, Carrington. If I
I hope
remember
so.
right, I think that there were
It's called a
some-
manservant. Take a letter.
Yeah.
And I would stand behind my manservant and poke him in the head, and he'd have to,
And he'd
I can
type
tell from
for
where
you.
you poked me, you want me to type an E. Be the best. That's why I pay you. Poke, 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 poke. I would be a terrible rich person, is what I'm saying. Like all rich people, I would have no morals. Nobody should be rich. There's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. That's what I have to say.
All right.
I'd be the worst of them. I think I said once in an earlier episode, I would sell Manitoba for magic beans if I could. Like I would just corrupt immediately.
Anyway, I
Well,
think
this is going somewhere different.
so. I think it's worth keeping an eye on this seller. I actually have sort of a standing search on the new things that the seller lists.
Oh, they're selling MacWrite 2, one of my all-time favorite word processors. I like this person. They sell interesting things. I don't want to buy any of them,
Yeah.
but they're neat to look at.
And you could tell from the narrative in that auction that I listed that the seller was very familiar with the Atari equipment. And
See, that's always disappointing because that means they're very familiar with what is worth a bunch of money.
Yeah, exactly. These are
You want somebody who's
rarely
not familiar at
bargains.
all with it and goes, well, this is old garbage. It's 15 cents.
Yeah. I always feel bad though at that point. Like I don't really want to I don't want to cheat somebody. So all right, so now
And by Carrington's reasoning, that's why we're not billionaires.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. I've emailed people or contacted people on eBay when I've seen something and I've said, I think what you've got there is like super valuable or whatever. But I've never heard back from anybody that I've ever done that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of nice to say, actually. But no one will ever believe you if you say, I think that thing's worth a lot less than what you.
Oh, that's true. But then I pick no harm, no foul though. If somebody picks an item and sticks it up for 3,000 when it's only worth 300, okay, their auction will expire, no big deal. Right. If they're lying in it, say this is super valuable, then I might say, hey, you're saying that's an Apple One. It's not. You just scratched off one of the ones in the two,
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like. No, not a big deal if somebody does something for too much. It's just a shame if somebody's just said, oh, I've just inherited this thing and it's worth nothing. And maybe they've got like a real gem behind the scenes.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. So I have a little list.
What do you
of
got
things.
for us?
Okay. So the first thing I have is, and I think I'm still sharing, right? So this is a GoTech extension board for the Amiga 1200 and 500. So I thought this was kind of interesting. It is basically so the GoTech drive is it's like it's a floppy adapter basically. It's like you can use it for like have a USB stick holding your floppy stuff for various platforms, but the Amiga is one of the ones that people have figured it out for. But the problem is that the device itself doesn't fit in a particularly good way. So I have an Amiga 500. I've put the GoTech inside of it, but all that you can do, like how did I do this? I don't even remember how I made it work because the USB stick kind of goes in through the floppy drive port into like someplace you can't see inside the computer because the floppy drive slot is small and narrow, and there are buttons that you could in principle hit if you could get to them. And there's a readout that you could in principle see if you could see it, but everything is hiding inside. And so what the GoTech extension board does is actually, it's sort of like a floppy shaped thing that will basically externalize the USB port and the buttons so that you can put the GoTech inside and still get at the buttons and see what's going on, but not have to cut your case.
Nice. You do have to cut the keyboard, it looks like it says in two places.
Yeah, if you have a 1200, you have to cut something. There's a support or something that will kind of block the mounting of the thing. But it's inside, and it says it doesn't affect the operation of the computer at all.
But that's only if you have the 1200.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like it. I think I might consider getting this because at this point, I just have this kind of like USB stick kind of like flopping around just outside the floppy port, and it's not very useful. I've played one game of Pipe Dream, I think, on the Amiga 500 before I shut it down again. But
that's it.
But that does show that at least the GoTech worked. Oh, that's right. And I keep forgetting that everybody can see my screen. So yes. That's cool. I have to make sure that I'm not looking at like waving something, whatever. Anyway, okay. Next thing I have is a TG. Oh, well, actually, maybe let me back up a second. Have either of you had any experience with the GoTech?
No, I've never even heard of it before. But I'm not I don't have a lot of real computers anymore. So, and the few things I've used along those lines are just the CFFA card and the SD floppy 2 and that sort of stuff. So there's so many of them now, but I've never even heard of the GoTech before.
I would like to get a GoTech floppy emulator for IBM stuff. Mm-hmm. For like I've got a 386 clone, and it would be nice to have a floppy emulator instead of relying on the fast failing floppy disks.
Right.
I don't have one, but I would like to get one, and they're interesting because they're applicable to so many different computer models. They're really kind of a neat product.
Yeah, and I think it is the sort of the PC ones that you're most likely to see. But so the seller has this Amiga thing is a partly DIY thing, so you do need to do a little tiny bit of working with a soldering iron, and so it's not going to be completely pre-built, but there's a fairly detailed page that sort of shows all of what you need to do to make it work, and it looks pretty doable. So, kind of tempting. It is, and I've forgotten already what it costs, but it's almost nothing. 18.48 pounds coming out of somewhere.
Cool.
Okay. The next thing I have is a TG Products Select-A-Port 5-port gaming switch.
So this is neat. So you can so you can plug in multiple joysticks and use them at once on an Apple II, or you switch between them on an Apple II.
I believe the idea is that you switch between them.
Okay.
So I don't know how it would work otherwise. It does seem like there are several switches there, and it seems like you could have some of them be on, like more than one be on. I don't
Which would be
really
an
know.
interesting gaming experience. Like two of you have a joystick, they're fighting it out,
Yeah,
and you got to together navigate a maze or something like that.
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm not sure that I would not say necessarily that this is a good deal. This is a $90 buy it now, right now. But it's an interesting thing, and so you can keep your eye out for it. I have a sort of a soft spot for TG products because I had one of their joysticks and liked it a lot. So
I can be the same way. There's certain like older brands that maybe still exist. I don't know, but things like Newer Tech. I had a bunch of Newer Tech things back when I had like duos and stuff, and so various docks, and they were always great. I was always so happy with those. So I have a like a fond nostalgia for that brand. So if I ever see a Newer Tech thing on eBay, I'll be drawn to it, even if it's not something I want. And just something about it will make me kind of want it just because of the brand. It's weird how I have a real soft spot for certain retro brands.
yeah,
That could be a topic on its own one time. Which are the brands that we like?
that's a good idea.
I'll
Maybe
talk to you
even
guys
time.
next week.
Okay, let's see. So this next one, it is a Sharp PC 1250A pocket computer and CE 125 printer and micro cassette bundle. So this is, I think we've talked about things like this. Maybe not this exact one, but this is like a little programmable Sharp calculator, and it is embedded in a larger sort of device that has a printer, a little like receipt printer, and a micro cassette as well. It's not very expensive, actually. So it's $110.
And so
I'll buy
this
it now.
is like a full little computer in this form factor, and you can save and load data from that cassette. Is that the idea?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
So it's actually not. It's kind of like the HX20 that we talked about a couple
yeah.
times ago, and that Earl is an expert on
Yeah,
our
Earl.
related podcast. Did you not? At least I thought that was right. Did you not do
No,
the
that
HX20 with
yeah,
Randy?
yeah. Randy and I did the HX20, and that was a lot of fun. I used to be on the support team for that guy.
This also looks like a way
Many
to
moons
turn a
ago.
computer that weighed 5 ounces into something that probably weighs 6 pounds. But
These
but
things are really
still-
cool. I've got one of these. One of the issues is you've got to replace the NiCad because they've long since died. And
But have
also,
you got one like this with the built-in cassette recorder and printer?
yeah,
Oh, this is neat. I like this thing.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know if this is the one that has a multicolor printer. This one may be just the single.
That would be
color
almost
printer.
too much.
There's another. I think it's maybe an older one that.
well, that's
has
one
a
of the most
plotter.
fragile pieces, though, is that it was actually like a little tiny mini plotter
Right.
in there, but it's very fragile. The plastic's kind of disintegrated.
Anyway, so it's not actually super expensive for this setup. I kind of expected this not to last very long.
That comes with the computer with the expansion.
It seems to.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, that is a very reasonable price.
Yeah. Is it sold yet? No, not yet. I'm not going to buy it. But although
I
don't
know
think
this
have that
shooting
one.
the moon, but does it have the memory expansion?
I don't see how we can see that unless they open it.
Well, in the description, do they?
Includes case, extra tape rolls, and power adapter.
Okay.
Appears functional. So this is probably somebody who doesn't know a whole lot about it. Okay, this is next thing I have is it's just a sort of quick thing. It is the Apple IIc case.
I had one of these, like for my Apple IIc. Like not back in the day. I never had an Apple IIc back in the day, but more recently, my Apple IIc. This is the case I had, and I think $25 is a good price for this case.
Yeah, they all seem like. I think they must. There's something about them that attracts spotting, or something. They all seem to have these like sort of like. I don't know. It's just maybe the color or whatever, but it's very easy to have little splotches all over them, and this one is not an exception.
And it has a nice super blurry photo, which is apparently the theme of the show.
Yeah.
Like, what is with people posting these incredibly blurry photos? Don't you look at the photo? I don't understand, man.
Do I have one of these around? Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah, I see one. I can see one up. But anyway, yeah, it struck me as being not very expensive. So
That's
Yeah,
pretty
$25.
cool.
If you're looking for a 2C case, I would say, yeah, pick it up.
And it's got a spot for the power supply.
It's got a bunch of
power
spots.
brick. And,
yeah,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
look at that.
and I think that little divider is mobile. Like if you wanted to, well, maybe I'm not sure about that.
I don't think mine was.
Okay.
I think, and this kind of fit really well for the 2C because it's got that external power brick thingy. And so it fits in one of those little cubbies, fits the power brick, and the other one fit the rest of the cable, and the 2C fits in the main compartment, and it fits snugly and well, and great way to kind of zip it up, keep it out of the dust, and put things away. For $25, I don't think you can go wrong with this. This is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, next thing I have. Every time I've never deleted my search for the Audrey. So I have a 3Com Ergo Audrey Internet Appliance computer. The reason this caught my attention was just that it has a starting bid of $10. And it is, so you might recall, I forget actually when these were made, but it is an internet appliance. It's an email device, that you put it in your kitchen.
So
and check
useful.
email. Yeah. They're weird looking things, but
What is the thing on top?
it's the pen, a stylus. It's a pen.
Oh, okay.
So so the thing that I like
It's
about
like a
this
little
one,
alien antenna.
yeah, although it's cheap. I mean, like it's cheap, but it contains everything you need. So it has the power adapter, it has the stylus, the knob has not fallen off. It has the Netgear adapter that will get you onto the internet. So like it's to the extent that you want one of these, this has everything you want.
Well, that's a low bar.
So they're kind of cool. So they are. We definitely talked about them kind of a lot, like a year and a half ago or something like that, when I was in my sort of frenzied phase of getting every color that they come in, because I think there are like 5 or 6 colors. This linen one is the most common color. Maybe after the show, I can wave my computer around and I'll show you. I'm looking right now at one of the Audrey boxes. But anyway, so if you were interested, this is a cheap one. They're not usually this cheap or this complete. The next one, I guess all of these things had sort of caught my attention because they were cheap. So I forget how cheap this was. $30 starting bid. This is Coleco Atom. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape. The keys have yellowed at sort of
Uneven.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was looking for. Uneven rate. Yeah. But otherwise, it looks kind of nice. It's got the main unit and the keyboard and a couple of tapes. But one thing that it does not have is the printer, and the printer is the power supply. So it is untestable and unusable. But it
Has
is
anybody made any kind of aftermarket products for the Atom that would let you power it without having the printer?
Well, that is my question. None of us know, correct?
Nope. I don't know.
Okay.
I think it would be a cool thing in the Atom enthusiast community, because probably a lot of those printers have gone away. And like you say, the computer, you can't power it without it.
Right. Yeah, and so that is exactly my dilemma. It's like, do I think this is Well, part of my interest in this is it is next door to me, basically. So it
Literally, like it's in the room 304 or whatever.
well, no, but it is in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts. So it's I could get there on public transit and pick this up if I wanted to.
Cool.
But I don't know if I would want to. I mean, like I don't have this. If it is possible to get this without the printer and still use it, I might want it. I think if I need the printer, I don't want it.
I have a question, which is what's up with the keyboard?
The yellowing. You mean?
But the yellowing that's like the T, no. The Y, fairly yellow. The R, crazy yellow. What is up with the, like,
Yeah.
I don't even understand how this happens. Were some of the keycaps replaced? Or does this thing actually yellow instead? Like, it's weird. It's very weird to look at the coloring of this keyboard. It's messing me up.
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks kind of neat, but it is.
Is there a secret message in the middle yellow keys? Look at it and goes, oh, all the dirty keys. Or that. Like, it's strange, man.
Well, yeah. Is that like it's maybe this person had a password that was like 67 DGFTHNKL or something.
Those are the ones that got typed all the time. I finally can deduce your keyboard 40 years later, or your password 40 years later.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anyway, I think it's kind of a neat looking machine, though. So, if I had a space for it.
Yeah.
But what else do I have here?
You've got something I used to have back in the day.
Yeah. Me too. Totally useless now. It is US Robotics. This one is a 56K V90
Sportster, baby. Yep.
Yeah.
US Robotics Sportster 56K. I totally had one of these.
And I just seeing there's zero use for this now, but they were so well. I mean, I had I think several generations of Sportster.
Me too.
And they're just an iconic shape of a kind.
It's a weird thing because I would have, if you searched my mind, if you could read my, say you were like a bad genie, a useless genie, whatever, wimpy genie, and you searched my mind 5 minutes ago, you probably would have seen no evidence I'd even seen one of these before. But as soon as I saw the photo, like a visceral rush came back to me. It's like one of those things where I'm like, yes, like just like this weird identification of something that like I had and used a ton of. That's such a weird experience to look at something, to go from not thinking about it at all for decades to, oh my gosh, I know that's so hard. Yeah.
They do have a unique design, don't they? I've actually got a couple of these in my collection. I have this one, and I've also got the 28.8 one as well. As far as
Too
I know,
slow,
both
man.
of them still work.
The future's 56K.
Yeah, that is.
It is.
Well, as far as you know, they still work, but like work in what
Closet
way?
rot.
Define work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Connect to what? There you go. And with what landline? Because I don't have a landline anymore.
Well, I think we did talk a little bit at one point about getting like a internal PBX or whatever.
You could get a PBX card, and get some open source PBX software. I can't remember the name of that software right now.
Yeah, I think it had star in the name of it. though.
Asterisk. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
Asterisk.
That's it. That's the one I was
Close
thinking
enough.
of.
Nicely done. Word association. A ball, a fall.
But,
Yeah, you could do that. And I think that when some folks bring these to like vintage computer shows and stuff like that, they bring the circuitry that it takes to simulate a plain old telephone system.
right.
You're just kind of calling yourself though.
Yeah.
In that sort of situation.
Yeah, it does seem. Well, I think this happened. We mentioned this probably, periodically. But at Kansas Fest a couple of years ago, someone had a whole bunch of AppleCat modems, and I believe we actually did, transfer something across the lounge.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah, I was in the show notes. I actually had marked this down as US Robotics Visual Nostalgia Trigger.
Oh, that's
Well
so
done.
funny. Nice.
But anyway, okay, so I guess that's it. But I definitely have that same feeling. There's another one. I don't know if I'm not sure if I'd be able to find it just on the fly here, but multi-tech,
Like a modem?
yeah, that for me has a pretty similar kind of nostalgia trigger.
For me, the only other one, I don't remember the model, but just there was a acoustic coupling modem, a particular one, a black one, I think a Radio Shack one or whatever, with the two cups that you the old, what acoustic coupler is. I don't know what I'm describing to you, but that's another one that would be like immediate nostalgia for me. And immediately, I wouldn't even have, even if I had a landline, I would have nothing, no phone of that shape that could go on an acoustic coupler anymore. So
Right. This was the one I was thinking about, the Multimodem 224. I had one, I guess, so this is.
I don't think I had that, so I don't have that same visceral reaction to it.
Yeah. But I sought this out. I have one on my shelf. It's not in this actual room, but just because of the visual memory.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, okay. So I guess that's it. I've now gone through all of my auctions, and I guess we're actually ready to go to the closing discussions part.
Cool.
Where nobody has entered anything into the show notes.
I have.
Have you? Oh, you have.
I
Okay.
have.
What is your closing note?
Watching the comments. It's fun having people comment. The people who tuned in live and have commented. That's awesome. Thank you. And Jim said he hoped that we come through with a Kevin Savitt's name drop. And thus I just have.
Very nice. Yes.
Well, we did earlier too when we talked about
I don't listen.
Fujiyama.
Yes. Well, maybe I'll edit that out.
Hey now.
But all right. Earl, any closing thoughts?
Well, I mentioned last time about that episode on the HX20 with Randy, and I don't know if I mentioned this. One of the things that I figured out when I took out the HX20 was that the capacitors have gone bad. Ooh, that's very nice. For those not watching, which is like 99.9% of you, Karen just showed a very awesome Beagle Brothers shirt.
No, it's my Beagle Brothers bag. I was making friends.
Oh, bag. I thought it was a shirt.
Will you be my friend at the grocery store if I hold up this bag? This is my Beagle bag. I just realized I'd gone grocery shopping. He was on the table beside me.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Anyway, back to you.
I'm not looking forward to having to take apart and recap that old HX20. That's going to be a lot of work. I think I'm going to see if somebody in town, I got a couple friends in town that have like the professional desoldering stations, because without that, you're just trying to mop up all that solder with one of those vacuum tube things. It's ugly. So that's a project coming up that I don't know if I'm looking forward to. It would be fun to have it all 100% operational again, but just scared I'm going to trash it in the process. We'll see.
Mod it, like we saw but last time. Who cares if we're going to trash it?
That's right. Drill holes in it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I every time I think about that, I kind of want to just like go live on a mountain, take
Paint
a
it
nap or
pink.
something. Because
That'll make sense to you if you listen to the last Antic.
I have so many things that are going to need recapping, including this SE30 I just picked up.
Well, then one of those custom desoldering guns might be a good thing. They're not horribly expensive. I think like in the $100 range. I just don't have one on my bench yet.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. Everyone who you ever talk to about soldering and desoldering stations says Hako.
Yes.
Just immediately.
Yeah, I have the Hako soldering station, and that was a little under $100. And oh my gosh, that thing is awesome. Just heats up really quick, does a great job soldering. It made soldering, it turned soldering from something that was a horrible chore into something that was actually kind of quick and easy, fun to do. So, can't say enough good about. I think it's the FX888D that I have. That is beautiful.
And so well named.
Yes, I mean it rolls right off the tongue.
Catchy.
Yeah. But so someday maybe I will get such a thing. I don't know if I have any real closing notes. As my opening note was that it started to snow. So.
Oh, it did?
But yeah.
Not snowing here, although it's dark. You can see the window behind me.
Yeah.
It is dark out.
Otherwise, I've
Darkness.
just had so much work stuff to do that nothing but editing has had any time commitment from me. But soon it will be summer.
Now it's like I have a Starfield behind me.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah, the sun went down as we recorded.
Only on one half of me though.
Yeah.
I'm a before and after picture. Okay, I'm a before picture. Shut up.
Okay. Anyway, I guess that's probably. I think that means it's about time to stop.
Yeah.
So that's it for this show. You can find the show notes for this and all the RCR shows at rcrpodcast.com. You can discuss us in the forums at vcfed.forum/forum.php. Someday I'm going to actually check to see if that link is still alive. I've been saying that for a very long time, but you can tell how often we check it too. But someday, maybe today will be that day that I go visit it for the first time in a year. You can follow RCR on Twitter at RCR Podcast. You can join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/RCR Podcast. You can send feedback to feedback@rcrpodcast.com. We are a member of the Throwback Network at throwbackreviews.net. And please write a review on iTunes or not. And until next time,
Retro compute.
All right. Thumbs up from me.
Beautiful.
Let's see.
Let me stop my Audacity.
An excellent comment just came in from R2, if we're still watching, that we should add the show topic to the name of the stream.
Indeed.
That's a good idea. Because we spend so much time on it.
No, but still, if you're looking for which was the episode, like that's a great suggestion.
That's true. Yeah. Where's my audio recording?
Good one, David. Good show, guys. Please return to your homes, everyone.
So now we got to pick the top. Speaking of topics, though, what's our topic going to be for next episode?
Well, and actually, here let me see if I can spin around and show my Audrey. Where's my Audrey? There. This green thing. That green
It's
thing.
gone live.
That's Audrey. Oh, but you can't hear me anymore because my microphone's over there.
I can hear you. Very nice.
And let's see what else. There was something else.
Holy, look at the stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, should I have zoomed in? Do it again, Paul.
Do it again, Paul. Do it again.
Maybe I can actually pull the Audrey out.
Yeah, dare you.
Is that dangerous? 1 second.
No, do it. This is going to be great. I'm ready to screen capture. So our new host topic will be the death of Paul. I am the walrus. Hey, anything we say now, Paul doesn't know, and when he edits the show, he'll hear it then. Hi, Paul. You didn't hear this stuff live.
There we go.
You didn't miss anything.
We weren't talking about you at all.
Nope.
Awesome.
Hey, you have an Audrey.
Yep.
How useful.
Yeah. And it's in a nice big box. Let me see. I don't know how does it open. Well, here. This particular one is a little waterlogged, I guess. But
Worst unboxing ever. You're gonna shut down YouTube.
Yeah.
Not even showing us what you're opening.
Well, I was going to hold it. All right, now the box is just
Like
falling
and
apart.
subscribe.
That's cool. All right, well, let's see.
I just keep waiting for the stuff behind you to slowly start to lean forward right before it goes.
And the other thing that is just, I'm not used to this, is that I keep showing...
The microphone.
So,
Yes. Hold it up to
that
the
as
microphone.
what I'm addressing, right? But anyway.
That's awesome. Okay, now I'm going to live stream some Apple II games.
But it's big, actually.
Holy moly, that's way bigger than I would have thought it was.
Yeah. It's like bigger than...
How heavy is it? On a scale from Coco 1 to Atari 800, what are we looking at scale-wise?
I think it's probably... It might actually be like a Coco 1.5.
Okay, it's pretty light.
What is the knob in front? What does that thing
That's
do?
Paul, man. You've been talking to him the whole show.
It's sort of like a scroll wheel kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So
It's a tuner.
you can click it and
Channel 5.
CK.
anyway. That's my linen Audrey, which I will now have to try to rebox somehow. But there was something else I was gonna. Oh yeah, I have a 2C thing up there, but whatever, doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so I'm going to show my HX20 since we talked about it.
Sure,
Do it.
cool.
I only have a bag.
All right, here it is.
Ah, nice.
Ooh.
What's in the expansion box?
What's in the box?
So
What's in the box?
in the expansion box are some ROMs and some extra RAM. So it's got, I think, an extra 32K of RAM, and it's also got some extra applications in there. Believe it or not, there was a word processor for this thing. It's 20 columns by 4 lines, so your word processing was limited.
Uh-huh.
but you could do it. And it would scroll to the left and right and actually give you a little virtual screen. So it was like having a tiny, tiny window into your document. But so here's the back of it. It's got the RS-232 ports and and this little cartridge out thing. If you would click that, it actually takes out.
Eject the whole tape deck.
Yeah, it ejects the tape unit. I'm trying to figure out. I guess I got it locked. Anyway, micro cassette for high density storage.
Cool. I like this show and tell part of the show.
Yeah.
I went and just got something off the shelf. I have a little tiny shelf with the 5 things that I have. So I can
let
show
me.
you I can show you my thing.
Yes.
I have. This is the famous
yes,
suspended that I sat on, so you can see the cracks.
Crunch.
This was brand new when I got it, or still shrinked, and see the holes. Those were caused by my butt. So, this is
I'm going to walk away for a sec. I'll be right
Sat
back.
right on it.
So those
Alas.
Keep sharing, Carrington.
Look, it looks just like me. Which one's me?
I mean-
Which one's the box?
So that actually is I mean, it's actual face sized. I mean, like that is
Yes.
a big box.
It is a very large. No, I just have a really tiny head. Yes, it is a very large box. This is the box.
Yeah.
Full of stuff. I like it. This game was really good. I dug it a lot. We reviewed it for Eaten by Gru. Kevin Savitz and I. 3 mentions.
Not bad.
It's weirdly yellowed though, because there's a sticker. They put the for Apple II sticker here, which I've just put inside the box because it had come off under the shrink wrap. So I stuck it inside. But it's everything yellowed except for that little chin square. It's weird.
I have one of those as well, and it kind of looks. It's not even pleasant to take a photo of because the yellowing is really kind of it's just ugly.
This is the look from our. If you go on
from
Twitter
the
feed,
Twitter feed. Yeah. David
should change it to these eyes.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
David says that this is his all-time favorite Infocom game and
Oh,
package.
cool. Yeah, I don't know if it's my favorite package. Hitchhikers was amazing because I like the feelies for Hitchhikers were really good. I really like the ones
Space
from
Fleet.
Ballyhoo. The Space Fleet, exactly. But they were probably the most fun feelies. Ballyhoo feelies really got me in the mood for the game. So I dug that one a lot, and I like that game a lot. There's the Saucer, but I don't have one of those for Starcross. And Starcross was only an okay game. I liked it. Kevin, I don't think, didn't like it that much. I dug it, but it wasn't amazing. So I think that kind of affects how much you like the box.
Yeah. I do not.
Why am I still a full screen guy?
Well, because
All me all the time. Oh, he's
there we
back. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice. The Sportster.
Oh, the Sportster.
See now, I really could.
3 more hours of show and tell.
I know. I'm just looking around, thinking, oh, here's something I should show.
Well, save some for next time. It's just
Paul, I would
talked
totally,
about
I would
this,
totally
so-
tune in if you just had it running and just held up things for 2 hours. I would watch it.
Well, this one I'm not going to hold up. Let me see if I can actually turn without losing my internet connection. But what I'm attempting to show is the Jupiter 2 that is over here.
What's a Jupiter 2?
It's that Lost in Space spacecraft, right?
Yeah, it's there behind the energy drink. But let's see.
That looks like a Sol.
All right. Yeah, it is.
It
something
does
like that.
kind of.
Oh, we're walking with Paul. We're walking.
Okay.
He's totally gonna. This feed is gonna go dead any second now.
Mobile live
You
stream.
can see this big 8-inch disc right next to the
Yep.
thing. Anyway, yeah. So that's the one that I think I mentioned. I sort of irresponsibly just powered on. Didn't do anything, but it may well, it could have just blown its big, capacitor or whatever inside.
Did it work?
No, it did nothing at all. It was as if it was not
It could.
powered.
It could have gone much worse.
Yeah. So, but it looks nice. But
Cool.
yeah, this office is relatively densely packed. I cannot wait
Mine too.
to.
Yeah, you barely have any space there at all.
I have a plant. Look, I've got my little jasmine plant. It's doing very poorly, but I put lights on it to make it feel better.
Very festive.
I made it chipper. I said, "Here, we have some lights." It's not doing better. I think I overwatered it.
It's because you were singing to it.
It could be.
Don't sing to your plants.
It could be. I call it Gem after Gem in the holograms. So if it dies, there's I think 3 other holograms. I could just name the next one after one of those. I don't know. You hear that? You hear that? You're replaceable.
Awesome. Okay.
So we
Anyway.
need a host topic for next time.
Oh yeah.
Yes. topic. What should we talk about?
What was the
What
idea?
are
that
the
we had?
choices?
Oh, did we come up with something during the show?
Yeah, we did. What was it? Hold on. So was it a chat? Was it suggested in the chat?
No, it was something. I don't know. Like Tears and Rain, man.
Let's see.
There was a new one I stuck in the show notes.
Yeah, I saw
Ken
that.
put up a good article about which games are timeless for the Apple II. So it's a potential one. Pick a game that's timeless. Though I think we've probably talked about games and stuff before. So
Not a
Yeah.
whole bunch, though.
okay,
I think, and if we widened it to like all of the retro computers,
sure. I don't think it has to be an Apple II thing. Like anything. Like what's an actual? If you could sit like not even just for you. Like what kind of game could you sit a modern young person in front of? Like someone who's 14.
that would
Stick them in front
enjoy
of a
it.
game that they would actually enjoy, not like play for 30 seconds, but actually say, oh, I like this. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to come back to it. Are there any of those? I can think of a couple potential ones. So maybe that could be a good topic.
Okay, that seems good. And whatever it is that whatever we came up with during that.
We'll remember, and then we
Yeah.
can stick it in for the show afterwards. There.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Okay.
See, listeners, this is how we come up with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, actually, usually we don't even do it ahead of time.
No, but we're supposed to.
We're trying to be better.
Yep.
I'm trying to be better.
Okay, so
Onward and upward.
things a kid might play,
Well, I can tell you,
enjoy.
No spoilers.
long time ago, well, I can't mention. Okay, I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah, keep it to yourself. No, keep it for next show. And surprise us.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
I think that's
All
it.
right. Well,
Oh,
we're going to
excellent.
say goodbye to everybody,
Yeah, thanks.
and thank you for watching.
Good night, David. He said good night.
Yes, good night, everybody.
Apparently he
Say goodnight,
brought in the
Carrington.
kids to come look at the Audrey.
Yeah, and I liked R2's suggestion. We should do that next time. Put the topic
Yeah.
in the title. That was a great suggestion. Well done, man. Way to go, R2.
I will.
Yeah,
do-
thanks for everybody watching. 5 or 6 of you held on through the show, and I appreciate it. It was fun. Really fun to watch people's comments.
All right. Okay. So bye everyone.
Take care.
Retro
Bye.
compute. Bye, guys.